Oh, hey everyone, welcome to another stupid week. There's a lot of stupid stuff going on, so we have a show. Netanyahu got to kick his week off by kicking someone out of the cabinet, Aryeh Deri, who the Supreme Court ruled can't be a minister due to all the crimes he's committed. In the same cabinet meeting where he told Deri to hit the bricks, Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, the dynamic duo of dickheads in Knesset, weren't in attendance for reasons what I'll get to a little bit later in the show. And for the second week in a row, this week saw record-breaking protests in Tel Aviv and across the country protesting Netanyahu's government and his judicial reforms. All in all, a solid third week for the Netanyahu government. He's doing great. So great. The Supreme Court ruled on Wednesday that criminals can't be ministers, at least not certain types of criminals, because let's face it, if they took all the criminals out of parliament, there'd be only one party left, and their legislative agenda would be to bring back all the criminals. Come to think of it, that seems a little bit like what's happening now. Anyway, Bibi gave Deri the old Trump treatment.
You're fired.
On Sunday in a cabinet meeting where he said, with a heavy heart, I must force someone who committed multiple crimes to step down from a position that he would likely commit more crimes from after we tried to do an end run around the law and it didn't pay off. I mean, he didn't actually say that. He might as well have said that. That was what they're trying to say. Interestingly enough, 65% of Israelis agree with the decision that Deri isn't eligible to be a minister, and even 57% of Likud voters agree as well. Who knows? Maybe there is some sanity left in this country after all. Don't get your hopes up, but it's possible. And in weekly government-sanctioned homophobia news, last week we discovered that Bezalel Smotrich might be a homophobe. I, for one, am shocked. Finance minister and man who still apparently gets his haircuts from his mother, Bezalel Smotrich said he was confident he could take active measures against the LGBTQ community without suffering any political repercussions from his political base, which is an absolutely outstanding indictment of the people who voted for you and their values. Let's just stop there. That's like Trump level saying, my voters know I'm an asshole and they voted me because they're assholes too. In a recording from a few months ago, he said his voters didn't give a damn about the gays. And I'd like to point out that in politics, generally, the more someone protests against the gays, the more likely that person is to be found in an airport men's room on his knees with a special friend. And for someone who really doesn't like romance with other men, Smotrich was brought to his knees by the defense minister Yoav Gallant this week. Okay, even I admit that joke was a little bit wrong. I mean, it was just right there. Defense minister Yoav Gallant clashed with Bezalel Smotrich last week, and man, I'm really tired of saying his name. Last weekend, when he ordered the evacuation of an illegal settlement outpost set up overnight in the West Bank. Smotrich, in line with his new authority of the totally made-up position that he had Netanyahu create for him, issued an order to stop the evacuation and take no order till he could hold a discussion with all the relevant people. The defense minister, however, ordered the continuing evacuation to go ahead despite the order or consulting with Smotrich. The head of the Religious Zionism Party whined that the defense minister is getting in the way of the responsibilities allocated to him in the coalition deal, and that if this continues, he may boycott legislative votes in the parliament. With all this government chaos, it's a wonder that Netanyahu isn't already looking for a new job. So if anyone sees posts for former prime minister with executive experience, that could be just Netanyahu looking for another job. Guys, it's been 3 weeks. This government has lasted less time than some leftovers in my fridge. Aryeh Deri lasted less time than Liz Trusted as the PM in the United Kingdom. So I have a message for the Israeli government and Netanyahu and all the other morons over there. Are we really going to be doing this every freaking week? I mean, I hope so, because then I have a show. I'm just asking. Just let me know how much time I should clear in my schedule. And in problems for the Jews in countries that aren't Israel news, Harvard University's Kennedy School announced on Thursday that it would in fact offer a fellowship to leading human rights advocate Ken Roth, reversing course after Roth said he was denied the fellowship over his criticism of Israel. Ken was originally denied a fellowship at Harvard, and it was never actually confirmed that his vicious bias against the only Jewish state in the world, to the exclusion of all other human rights violators, was the cause. To be honest, that's a very good reason to not get a human rights scholarship. Ken was denied his fellowship originally. The anti-Semites did what they always do and do best. They complained that they weren't anti-Semitic It was just criticism of Israel, and anyone who says otherwise is part of the evil Jewish conspiracy working to undermine them. I'd like to point out, though, that it's not like Ken is going to move the needle much on campus anti-Semitism. It's not like last week we didn't see college students marching around campus being pro-suicide bombing. So, just another loser academic who decided to retire and do what he decided to retire and keep doing one of his favorite hobbies, hating Israel. And that's my show for this week. If you were looking for optimism, then, well, I don't know, go read a kid's book or something. Thanks for watching this far. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. And if you want to see more of this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Have a great week.